And we are live with yet one more Yard Prep pregame show. The Dolphins are about to face the Cincinnati Bengals, the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. And before we get too far into it, I'm going to go ahead and say that this show is brought to you by PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks is a revolutionary new way to play fantasy football. So if you want to go ahead and get yourself started in the world of fantasy football, PrizePicks is the place for you. Pick 2 to 3 or 4 fantasy football players or whatever kind of sport you like, and you can go ahead and choose the over or under on how many fantasy points they will score. And if you win, well, you win big. So they will match your deposit up to $100. So go ahead and get started with prizepicks.com today. Again, the promo code is the word 5. That's FIVE, spell out that word, and they will match your deposit up to $100. Again, it is prizepicks.com, promo code 5. All right, so gentlemen, we were getting excited for the matchup of the century, so to speak, the two rookie quarterbacks going at each other. But now instead we're going to be getting, what's his name, Brandon Allen for the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know exactly. That's a perfect reaction to that. Thank you, Manny, who is our producer in the background. I don't know who Brandon Allen is. I don't know what Brandon Allen is good at. If anything, I don't think the Bengals have Joe Mixon either. So that's going to, if anything, that just makes this game even more of an opportunity for Tua to get back in the groove after coming back from his thumb injury, which from what we've been told is still a little bit less than ideal. So hopefully everything turns out well, but I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Mr. Ortega. What are your thoughts on this game going in?
Well, they have no running backs. Okay, so like if he turns around to hand it off on an inside zone on the first play, there's nobody standing there, right? So that means that Gailey's going to have to open up the offense considerably today because all you have is Myles Gaskin and Patrick Laird. Patrick Laird, you got to figure, is going to play third downs. So yeah, they're going to have to open it up. That short passing game is going to have to be on point, and we could see a 40 pass to a game today.
Yeah.
And I think that's what everybody's looking forward to. So I'm going to go now to the newcomer, Mr. Juan C. You might have seen a lot of his threads on Twitter that you can go check him out. He breaks down a little bit of film here and there. So Mr. Juan, thank you for joining us and being part of the show. Now I'll go ahead and go to you. What are your thoughts on this game? What besides Tua throwing the ball a lot, which everybody's projecting?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm really curious to see how exactly Gailey plays this, because last week we had something similar to where we were short on running backs and we threw a lot. So kind of like Alfredo was saying, are we going to go back to that recipe, or do we just go back to safe old Gailey, which is just handing him off 20, 30 times a game?
And that's something that we're going to have to be keeping an eye on, because now that Gaskin is back, this is something that I wanted to think about, because true, while the Dolphins running back depth is slim to none right now, Gaskin is back. So, and Gaskin, before he got hurt, was the workhorse running back that the Dolphins had up and running, so to speak. So I can see where there would be a distinct temptation to go ahead and try to let Gaskin do it all over again. Like, okay, we have Gaskin back. Let's go ahead and hand the ball off 20 times when it's not working. So now, Kai, how are you doing, Kai?
You know, I'm doing a little bit better than yesterday. Manny knows, had a huge headache yesterday into today. The only thing that I'm excited for is hopefully getting some sort of anything on film of Brian Flores screaming at Lee Steinberg for ruining his surprise this weekend, because that would just make my day.
Okay, so for those surprises. So for those who are wondering, Lee Steinberg basically put out a post on his Facebook that said that looking forward to watching Tua play against the Bengals before the announcement was made that Tua was going to play. Then he quickly edited his post, said that going to go see the Dolphins, but it was too late. The internet never forgets anything you post. So that snapshot of him saying Tua was there, and so it was leaked by the agent that Tua was going to play. At this point, I'm just thinking that the Dolphins just need to not tell Steinberg anything. It's like, no, you already blew it. Yeah. You already blew it. We're not going to tell you anything anymore.
Yep.
So, anywho, we'll go ahead and go to now Mr. Michael. What are your thoughts on the game overall? And then we'll get into some more specifics.
Yeah, so I mean, exciting enough for me. I wrote my first sports article. It's up on the 5 Reasons site, and it was just about how the right, where it's like they do a little bit of everything, but nothing's great, right? Nothing blows you away, nothing gets you really excited. I know we keep harping on the running game, but it's because at least on the defensive side on the ball, we should dominate. You know, if we don't dominate on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to be shocked and confused and think what the heck. So I know that we don't have all of the running backs today, but with Myles Gaskin back, who they thought was the guy at the start of the season, he should have a decent day, right? Like the Dolphins are 30th in rushing yards per game, but the Bengals defense is 30th in rush defense, right? So you got to be able to get something going. And maybe it is a game where Tua throws 40 passes, and I'd love to see that, right? Because my anticipation is that this game should be slightly boring, right? It should be pretty well handled from the start. There shouldn't be much in terms of like, well, are we going to lose this game? Is it too close? We should manhandle the Bengals. That's just what it is. And I'm fine with it being that way if it is boring because we're the ones winning. But I want to see the running game get something going. They need to find an identity. Alf, you and Chris said it on the podcast. Like, we have no idea what this running game is. They just kind of throw out some guys and do a bunch of different things, and they have no sort of identifying factor or lead back. They need to figure something out if they want to make some noise in the playoffs.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This running game really doesn't have an identity because they essentially do everything. And I like that. I like that they have a lot of diversity in the running game. But at some point, you just have to stick to what works and then pound it to death. Okay, the best running games don't have a playbook like the Dolphins do, well, with 40 different types of running plays and like 6 different formations. They just don't. The best running games have like 4 or 5 plays, and they run those 4 or 5 plays all season. The year that Ricky Williams, and I said it on the podcast, the year that Ricky Williams ran for 1,800 yards and won the NFL rushing championship, that year Norv Turner had 5 running plays for that offense. That's all you need to know. They ran 5 plays. They executed those 5 plays. And your offensive line also gets into a rhythm when you have just those 4 or 5 plays and you tell them, look, just execute this. Yep. And we're going to run this in week 1. We're going to run it in week 5. We're going to run it in week 15. So, yeah, they need to get some type of identity because playoffs are right around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many run plays you figure the Titans have?
1.
They have to have 2. They have like outside, Henry inside.
They really have like 4. They have like you can really break it down and look at it. They have like 4. They have counter play. They have a counter play. They have a counter tray. They have outside zone. They have inside zone. That's all they run. Yep. So like you can watch it. Like you could break down the all 22 with Tennessee. They got like 4 run plays. 4.
Yeah, I think one of the I think we have a lot of positives and negatives from bringing the New England system down here south. Obviously, the positives being the defense. I think one of the negatives is how we use our running backs. I feel like we try to be too situational based to where it's like, okay, well, who's our James White? Who's our LeGarrette Blount? Who's our specific back to do a specific role? And I was frustrated at the beginning of the year with Jordan Howard, where it was just, he's our goal line and he will only do the goal line and he was only going to do goal line. So I think we just had to kind of let everybody try it out and just ride the hot hand.
Well, and the mixing running back situation works, right? Like what I call the Cheesecake Factory works, right? When you have a great quarterback, right? When you've got Tom Brady back there, you can do that. And people are going to point to the Chiefs, right? You can do that when you have a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Tua, I think, can be a great quarterback. Will he be Patrick Mahomes or Brady? We don't know. We'll see that. But Tua's not at that right now, right? And if you want him to develop, you need to help him out. And the best way to help him out is with a consistent run game. And we don't have that.
All right, but now let's go ahead and ask this question. So, do we feel like that the reason that they don't have a consistent run game is more about the person running the football, or is it about the blocking up front?
Can I say both?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot,
or a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of everything, and I'll give you an example. In my opinion, most of it falls on the running backs. Okay, like they're not finding the extra yard or the extra 2 or 3 yards or breaking down a lot of tackles this season. But when the season started, the offensive line was actually making a lot of holes, and Durham Smythe was playing very, very well, hitting blocks. Chandler Cox was hitting blocks. Adam Shaheen was hitting blocks. You could see as the season has gone on that some of those things have deteriorated and not really come forward, especially the blocking from the tight ends. So as the tight ends keep catching balls and playing well, their blocking hasn't been as great as it was earlier in the season. So, yeah, it's a little bit of everything. But I think it really has to do with an identity. It's funny how certain teams, you just add a great running back and all of a sudden they become a good running team, right?
Yeah.
It's an attitude. It's an attitude. Yeah, when you go to the offensive line room and the guy who walks in there with you is Ezekiel Elliott, and you have an attitude already. You're like, okay, we're going to run it 300 times this year. And this guy should have a shot at the rushing title. and then it's just a complete change of attitude. When you have a bunch of different guys in the running back room, and then you don't know who your right guard or your right tackle is week to week because of injury or COVID or whatever, you don't gain an identity like that.
Yeah.
Well, and anybody that thinks the Dolphins were happy with the running back situation has to be fooling themselves because they've tried time and time again to find different guys, right? Like you see the whole list.
Money, I love Bell.
Yeah,
Like-
Gaskin was a 7th-round pick. Ahmed and Laird were undrafted. They traded for Matt Breida during the draft. They signed Jordan Howard during the offseason. They tried to get Le'Veon Bell. And this offseason they're going to be active again. I'd be shocked if they sat back and were like, we're just going to try these 5 guys again.
And they traded for DeAndre Washington. And if you think that what they traded for DeAndre Washington was no big deal because they traded like a conditional 7th that can turn into a 6th, those are usually the picks that people use to try to move into the 5th round. So they actually looked at him and said, okay, this is a guy that could be rostered going forward.
Right.
Except that he's inactive today, which is beyond bizarre considering he was the best running back the Dolphins had last week.
He had a hamstring.
Yeah.
Hamstring.
Yeah.
Hamstring injury.
Yeah, he was doubtful. I think one of the things that people don't talk about is, for instance, a quarterback to wide receiver chemistry, right? We talk about how a quarterback needs to be in sync with his wide receivers, but we never really talk about a running back being in sync with his offensive line, where I feel like that's a very big part of it, to where you also have to know who you're blocking for. For instance, look at Le'Veon Bell, a great example. A Steelers team that when he was playing over there blocked differently than somebody that, blocking for Zeke, where he's more of a power-oriented runner. So I think it also depends on that chemistry as well.
Yeah.
Zeke needs to take his sleeves off.
He needs to stop fumbling the ball.
Have you guys seen Cameron Magruder and his after the Cowboy game video? All he does is complain about those sleeves that Zeke wears. I only bring it up because Friends of Five is putting up the comment about how the Dolphins should go hard for Ezekiel Elliott, and I don't know. I mean, I wanted Derrick Henry. I wanted to give all the money to Derrick Henry, quite frankly, and it doesn't look like I'm wrong on that assessment. He's doing another terrific job in Tennessee, and he spits in the face of everybody who says that you don't pay running backs, because Derrick Henry, if he had been in Miami, he would have easily become the Ricky Williams we've been missing. Not since Ricky would we have had somebody like that.
Whoa, what are you talking about? Jay Ajayi had that one fantastic year.
Come on.
I don't count Jay Ajayi. I don't count Jay
games.
Ajayi. I don't count Jay Ajayi. I'm
games.
sorry.
Wait, that Ajayi year was fun. All right.
Yeah, it was.
A lot of
Yeah,
fun
sure.
year.
One year. And then he
had
blew it all out in
100.
in that 1 year. He blew it all out. That was it.
But
Exactly.
you knew
So we let him
ruined
blow
the
it out
Carly.
in
That was it.
Philadelphia. Get him out of here.
You knew coming out of college though that his knees weren't going to hold up. So it was going to be
Yeah, but we hoped
year,
that it would last more than one season.
But okay, but you
They
have to
ran
look
him
at,
hard that one.
you have to look at a
And he
play like
claimed he
Derrick
wasn't getting it
Henry.
enough.
You have to look at a play like Derrick Henry and think,
He
how
did
long can
complain.
Derrick Henry do this? Right? Like maybe Derrick Henry can do this for a really
I
long
feel you.
time, but the way he takes hits, because he's so big and everyone's always going low, it's also just a part of being a big running back, right? Like that's just
I feel you.
part of it.
I feel like
Let
I've
me
been
just
asking
say
myself
this
that
real
last
quick.
3 years too.
Yeah, and let me just say this: we all saw Jamal Lewis, right? And we thought he was probably one to be like the greatest thing.
Mhm.
At some point, that big body man, it's gonna wear down. His knees are not gonna feel the same every
Yeah.
week, man. I'm telling you, it takes a toll.
I'd want a smaller running back. I'd want somebody a little shiftier. That's why, to me, the biggest guy I would go after, if we ever had a chance, which we don't anymore, would be Alvin Kamara out of the Saints. That to me is what. Listen, you give me that speed.
I'm not gonna say no to Alvin Kamara
Man.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
I think they
alright,
got to monitor. I think they got to monitor the situation in Minnesota, and if
True.
if they fire their coach and they do a complete rebuild, man, I would throw a pit for Dalvin Cook, because in my opinion, he might be the best running back in football right now.
Yeah,
Dalvin
right
Cook.
now.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys:
And he's local.
would you guys be more willing to invest, knowing and speaking about how running backs don't last, a first-round pick into a running back, or would you prefer to get to a help with a wide receiver?
Well, I think
Well,
we could do
have
both.
two, so why can't we do
Yeah.
both?
Yeah.
We have the
We
we
can
have
do
the
both.
camera
We-
on the Bulls.
we need some linebackers too.
But
I feel.
okay,
And they have money. We talked about this on the podcast this week. I asked them because I believe who was it? It was PFF that put out Dolphins. They predicted Aaron Jones and Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
And I love Allen Robinson, and CK loves him too. He's a great player, but we already have Allen Robinson. Devontae Parker is Allen Robinson. Okay, so it's kind of redundant. That's not what they need. They need like a true slot guy. So we thought that Juju Smith-Schuster was probably the best fit, but
From a
they're
free
gonna have
agent
options.
standpoint, yeah.
They're gonna have
Oh,
options.
Alfredo, question. Did you see what Flores said this past week about the slot position in general? How he doesn't see the value in it?
Yeah, I saw that. Although I think when the season's over, he's going to sit down with his offensive coordinator. His offensive coordinator is going to say, you know who's a really good fit for this system?
A slot
Receiver like Juju Smith-Schuster.
Well, and at the end of the day,
100%.
isn't Flores an admitted he backs away from the offense because he's like, that's not really my area.
But at least he watches, unlike a certain taco-loving head coach who disappears whenever the other team is on the field.
Lewis, I feel like your favorite head coach in the NFL is Adam Gase.
Yeah, for real.
No, it's my favorite coach to make fun of.
Of course, the other part of that PFF article was Aaron Jones, and I'm pretty sure everybody here loves Aaron Jones. You know what? We probably none of us here like about Aaron Jones. He's always injured.
Yeah.
And availability for a running back is important.
Same thing for Dalvin
So is Cook.
Yeah.
So is Cook. Let's
Cook
not forget,
too.
Dalvin Cook's always hurt.
Just got healthy these last 2 years.
All right,
Man,
so
are we really that bored with the Bengals game?
I was
No,
saying,
that's
we've
what I
almost
was-
gone
I was-
17 minutes just on running backs. Like,
we'll have to talk about this more in post game, I'm sure. But anyway, so let's go ahead and
really quick with Juju. Remember earlier in the season, before like in that first kind of quarter of the season, there were talks of that they weren't happy with him, and because the receivers were doing so much better, it was seen as like he might not be a need there. So Juju could be a real possibility come the offseason, not just for the Dolphins, but any other team.
But the Steelers do that. The Steelers find a wide receiver in the late rounds.
Let him go.
and then they cause trouble, and then they get
They
booted.
cause a little bit of trouble. They send him off somewhere else.
They were
have
mad about
lesser
his
careers in
TikToks.
Okay, but then they
All
suck,
things.
Mike Wallace.
Yeah, and then the Steelers have another great rookie, right? It's always
Yeah.
they had what Mike Wallace led into Emmanuel Sanders and Antonio Brown, right? Then Antonio Brown got shipped off, and they had Juju Smith-Schuster. Now they have Schuster and Claypool's in the wings waiting to come up and take the spot. I don't know what is with that team, but they always find wide receivers, and it makes me incredibly jealous.
Maybe it has something
That's
to
scouting.
do with, maybe the maybe the
I'm
troublemaking
sure, but-
comes from Big Ben.
Damn, it's great.
You know what? That would make sense. 15 years with Ben. Maybe he makes some wide receivers too.
Yeah, he does.
No, I'm saying he makes them angry.
That too. Oh, for sure.
But anyway, so there was a report out. Tua is warming up, so it is confirmed pretty much that he is going to be starting. He is wearing some tape around his left thumb and also his wrist. So that is something that we have to be watching. So let's go ahead into the keys of the game, and then we will go ahead and do our predictions. I'm going to start with you, Juan. Your key for the game for the Dolphins to win this game.
I think for sure is keeping the Bengals offense in third and long situations to where we can definitely go ahead, run some cover zero, get this Brandon Allen quarterback confused, and just go ahead and pressure him all game.
Short and sweet. Kai?
Get the offense right, get into next week with a healthy Tua, and hopefully some of these running backs come back because the Chiefs are going to be more entertaining than the Bengals.
Michael?
We got to keep relying on the same thing we've been relying all year, and that's the defense. I would love it if the offense exploded, but defense, keep doing your thing and get Byron Jones his first pick so that Bleacher Report can get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
Alfredo?
Yeah, get that short passing game right. I'd like to see also Tua try some deep shots. He actually does try a lot of deep shots. He just hasn't connected on many. But just try to expand the whole playbook. Give him this week as a real rollout of what the offense should look going forward, and just stay healthy. Just stay healthy for next week, which they're going to need it.
Wait, sorry. What's the offensive line situation coming into this one before you go, Lewis?
I'm pretty sure that everybody's
out, right?
active.
Oh, is everybody active? Like everybody's healthy?
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Yeah,
healthy is relative.
Right.
they're there.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Lewis.
They should be playing, but healthy is relative. But anyway, my key for this game is pretty much torment Brandon Allen. This guy is a backup for a reason. I don't even like the fact that I didn't even know his name says enough that he's not anything that we should be scared of. We just need, if we can just get in this guy's face and make hopefully Emmanuel Ogbah can reset his sack streak. He didn't get one last week. So if they can just get in his face, knock him down a lot, I think the Dolphins should have a very easy time on defense. And I'll predict Xavier Howard gets yet another interception.
I like it.
Man, you're going super out of the
He's a
limb,
top
and
3
that's risky.
cornerback for somebody who may or may not be watching.
That's super
People don't
risky.
realize that what Xavier Howard is doing is historic. Okay.
Yeah.
As in, it's never been done in the history of the sport. So I think that's a top 3 cornerback. Yeah.
Anywho, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the well, like I said, that's what I've become, the Skip Bayless of 5 reasons. But anyway,
No, Lewis, you can't
Hey,
keep saying
Jock,
it.
are you listening, Jock? Jock, you listening?
You can't keep Lewis. You can't keep saying that, man. You can't manifest that. We can't have it.
I can at least be a good host.
You know
But
what I
anyway.
think is interesting? If you look at the schedule, the NFL schedule, there's a lot of rooting interest for the Dolphins today. Yeah, I think, Michael, you had a list, right?
No, it was David.
David had
It was
up.
David.
It was David Ebersol that had it?
I would love to have been on that. No, it was
Fins over Cincy, Titans
I
over
think it was
Browns.
Fernandez. Wasn't it David
Yeah,
Fernandez?
David Fernandez.
Okay.
Titans over Browns, Texans over Colts, Jets
What?
over Vegas. That's not going to happen. 49ers over Bills, a little bit more possible. Cowboys over Ravens on Tuesday.
Okay, wait. Texans over Colts. Okay, now we've given up on the whole Now we're giving up on the draft pick thing. Now we're just like get the Dolphins into the playoffs. Stuff.
Well, okay, so if you put it into the predictor,
they can get into the playoffs on their own. They don't need that nonsense.
Yeah, no. If you put into the predictor, literally, like if the Titans beat the Browns, the Dolphins win, which I think we're all expecting to happen. We don't think this is going to be another Broncos situation. The Dolphins would firmly put themselves at 5th. If the Colts win, it would still kind of stay the same. The Colts would be on the first ones out, and the Dolphins would be kind of right on that top wild card spot. So really, a Colts win and even the Texans win, it doesn't really matter. As long as the Dolphins win and the Titans win, they'd be pretty safe at the top of the wild card race.
Good. So go boo Texans. Sorry. I'm greedy. I want everything. I want the best draft pick possible and a playoff berth.
You want a deep playoff run and a top 5 pick.
Yes, I do. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But if I have to be a 7th or 8th pick to get a better playoff spot, I'll take it.
Who do the Patriots play, by the way? I know they have a tough game today.
They play the Chargers at 425. So
okay, can Justin Herbert finally figure out that throwing for a lot of yardage is nice, but winning is better? So go and beat.
You got to rope Anthony Lynn in that too.
Because the Patriots are doing that stupid thing that they do every single year. They've won 4 out of 5. So they're coming up. You don't want a fired up Patriots team coming in here. You want them beat down. So go Chargers.
Don't set off Chargers Twitter again. A bunch of stupid slander. Man, they're dumb. Gosh, they're dumb.
All right, so while you guys are fired up, let's go ahead and do our predictions. Let's start with you, Alfredo. What's the prediction for this game?
Tua plays his best game of the year. They win 27-3.
Whoo! 27-3. Best game. Okay, well, define
better
best game because you love to cite the Cardinals game.
280 yards, 3 touchdown passes.
Okay. Mr. Michael?
I'm going to price it right, Alfredo, here, and I'm going to go 28-0 Dolphins. Just for the hotter take. Let's get it.
Okay, Kai.
I had 31-3.
Oh, okay. Whoa, I just got
up here. Okay.
Yeah.
Juan.
I'm a temper it down. I'll go 24-10.
Nah, dude, the right answer was
they're going to score 10
points? Come on, Juan. This is your first
I think
time.
they'll score a field goal, and then they'll sneak in a little touchdown there.
In garbage time. The Dolphins go free then, right?
All right, come on, Skip Bayless. Give us the take.
Oh,
I think the Dallas Cowboys. No, sorry. All right. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game pretty handily. I'm not going to say that they're going to score like 30 points or anything because I'm still not convinced this offense is going to light it up even against this.
Hey,
Bengals
I never
defense.
said that the offense was going to be the reason we got.
Okay.
True. Very true.
I see what you're saying. Yes, defensive touchdowns. Okay. Nonetheless, I will go ahead and say that it's going to be somewhere along the lines of 24-7, just because, again, I'm not convinced this Bengals offense can run without Joe Burrow. I don't know who Brandon Allen is. They don't have Joe Mixon, so their offense is severely depleted. The Dolphins, if Tua's thumb isn't going to mess him up that much, which we all hope that it doesn't, because we really don't want to have to think about, well, what happens if he gets a little dinged up? Is he going to be able to play? This will go a long way in seeing how he handles pain, which we already know kind of how he does it in college. But again, college in Alabama, now the NFL is 2 different animals. I think the Dolphins will win 24-7. That's a good, fair-ish season.
So we're all thinking 24 points or more, essentially, as the Dolphins.
So they've consistently been doing that all season, though.
Yeah.
Only a couple of games have they really missed out on that, so I'm not really all that concerned about the score.
That's largely in part because of the defense, though. The defense scoring is really that big help to the average.
I think Alfredo's prediction is going to come true, though. I think that 3 touchdowns Real possibility.
That would help a lot in ending some of the controversy. So thank you all so much for joining us. This pregame show lasted a little bit longer than we thought it would, but only because we got into some running back talk. We may get into that a little bit more during the postgame show. So stay tuned for that. Again, we will be streaming live during the game in between commercials. We will come on and we will discuss things going on in the game, and we'll complain about the Dolphins running the ball when they shouldn't and not throwing it when they should and all that wonderful stuff. So thank you all so much for joining us for this pregame show. Yep, it's Tua.
That's right, Alf.
Tua 20. It's like, there you go. All right. So once again, thank you all so much for joining us. Go to prizepicks.com. There's still time. Use the promo code 5, FIVE, and you can go ahead and match up to $100 on your deposit. So you might actually be able to win some money today. All right. Until next time, folks.